So last year I stood up here and talked about the difficulty of staying ahead in creative businesses. And I talked about some of the experiments that we run, how we try and make things differently and how we try and make different things. And loosely under not really a philosophy, really a couple of words of fail harder, which we have on one of our walls in our office, which kind of encourages us to do things that we don't know how to do and not be too worried about failing some of the time. So in terms of updates, we added something around the corner of the wall, fail harder, which is even more of an excuse. But I'm going to talk about 3 experiments that we're currently working on at the moment. The first is just coming back to pie. When I stood up here last year, I talked a little bit about the Portland Incubator Experiment, and we even included experiment in the title there so that when it goes wrong, we can say that we warned you. But these guys were in class last year, and before these guys had come along, it was just a kind of shared working space. So it's somewhere where startups could come and have a desk and some coffee for a few months until they grew up a little bit. This was the first more formal class. We weren't really sure what would come out of it. And a year later, not all of these companies are around, but some of them are doing quite well. So Cloudability has just secured a Series A round of about 8.7 million, I think. And I don't know if you follow the vending machine scene, but Vencreen have gone into commercial production and recently won a bunch of awards at the Vegas trade show. You might or might not have followed that. It's a big event. The other thing that came out of Pi was that we started getting more friendly and better acquainted with the developer scene. And so we've been putting on these kind of hack days in the space, which has been interesting because it's been a way of these smaller companies and the people that they're connected to start working with some of the brands that we work with. So we've had Intel and Nike as well as Portland Public Schools in the space. And then one of the things we did with Nike was work with a bunch of Connect hackers to see how motion capture technology might change the way that designers make athletic apparel. So that's been interesting. Another thing that's come out is that some of the companies who have passed through have now started working with Wieden as clients. So nicely, it's like we're growing a new generation of a different type of clients to the ones we mainly have. This year, we just had a second class graduate at the beginning of October, and we got more involved with these companies in terms of branding, positioning, naming, identity design. So whereas beforehand, Pi had been quite separate from Wieden+Kennedy, this time we had a bunch of strategists, graphic designers, and so on, working with the companies right from the start. So I think all of those designs except one were done by Wieden+Kennedy and a couple of the names as well. And that got really interesting to us, working with companies when they were pre-market and really helping them to define who they were. So we started doing that a little bit beyond Pi as well. These guys came to us about a year ago, I think, and were talking about trying to set up vending machines that ran on a red box model but tried to get disposable batteries out of the marketplace by giving people an easy way of switching out rechargeable ones. So we really liked the idea. Really liked the CEO, hated the name, hated the green bats, the Z, the box, so pretty much everything apart from the guy and the idea. So we worked with them and kind of came up with a different name, different colours and a different look. And that was a really satisfying way of working because it meant that people from our studio who normally work on designing ads for creative teams ended up being creative directors on look and feel and name and product design and retail experience. So that was a kind of expansion of what they're doing. And these guys are going into Whole Foods next year, I think, early. And hopefully we'll get them beyond just the crunchy destinations because we hope that it's got a bit more of a mainstream appeal. So that's 2 experiments. The third one, we've only just started, so this is more of a preview. I haven't really got anything to show you. I'm just telling you what we've started to do, but hopefully maybe next year there'll be something more tangible to look at. So Sharp Stuff is looking at the way that content grows and evolves over different platforms and how the things that we're good at with some of our brands we might be good at when we're not working with brands, who knows. We've had some really good conversations and getting some nice participation from a bunch of different people. We've been talking to really optimists and inventors and people who think that they've got ideas for a brighter future. So some really kind of nice contributors there. A lot of the nice things that have happened here, though, is that as well as those more familiar names, we've started getting leads to a much bigger range of people. This guy, well, not this guy, this is the spacesuit of Cameron, and he believes that space travel should be accessible for everybody, and he's building a spacesuit in his front room to prove that, and he plans to take a balloon up to 50,000 feet. So we went and watched him inflate it all and look at where all the air was coming out. So that was great to meet him. It's slightly worrying to see that he was controlling the whole thing with this, but he says he knows what he's doing. So that's where we are at the moment. I don't want to miss this opportunity, though, because I'm sure there are some good ideas here. And what we found with Sharp Stuff is that we have the ability to move a lot faster because we're working without our clients, who tend to have a longer kind of lead time for everything. As we heard earlier this morning, there are different balances and rhythms and patterns, and hopefully Sharp Stuff is getting us into something that's a bit more responsive. So when Felix, the space jumper, said that it was a waste of money to travel to Mars, we've been speaking to a bunch of people like Dr. Charles Alachi and Dr. Zubrin, who believe in manned space travel to Mars, so we were able to very quickly write back and say why we felt it was a good idea. All right, thank you very much.